Hey, good morning. I hope everybody's well. I'm going to try something completely different today. I guess after 4 weeks of continuous shows every day, you have to keep finding new things to do. So bear with me here. I'll explain what I'm going to do or why I'm going to do it. I started reading a book a couple of days ago called No Mud, No Lotus by Thich Nhat Hanh. Really interesting Buddhist philosopher, Vietnamese fellow that many people have admired for a long time. He's been a phenomenal teacher to many people. And what the book is about is acknowledging suffering. And that's something that I've talked about fairly often in a lot of different ways. My interpretation of it is when something happens to me that I don't like, if I get angry at it or frustrated, then I really lose my capacity to think or pay attention to what to do. It's just like fight. And so, what I've tried to teach myself to do over the years is when something happens I don't like, I say thank you to it for a couple of reasons. One, because it's always trying to teach me something. But as soon as I say thank you to it, it immediately relaxes me. It's no longer something that I'm in opposition to. And we've talked about stress enough, I think, in the last few weeks to understand that when we feel stressed, our brain changes. We start to release cortisol, and that reduces our capacity to think and figure things out. Okay, so I'm going to read you this, and while I'm doing it, I'm going to show you a bunch of pictures that I take, because that's one of the ways that I reduce stress and pay attention to what's good and practice mindfulness. So I need this screen. I'm still waiting for somebody to show me how to do this better. Okay, now I don't know if you can see me, but it doesn't really matter. So this is from no mud, no lotus, which is there's both sides to things. There's bad or good. So what suffering is made of? There is the suffering of the body, including the sensations of pain, illness, hunger, and physical injury. Some of this suffering is simply unavoidable. Then there is the suffering of the mind, including anxiety, jealousy, despair, fear, and anger. We have the seeds, the potential in us for understanding, love, compassion, and insight, as well as the seeds of anger, hate, and greed. While we can't avoid all of the suffering in life, we can suffer much less by not watering the seeds of suffering inside us. Are you at war with your body? Do you neglect or punish your body? Have you truly gotten to know your body? Can you feel at home with your body? Suffering can be either physical or mental or both. But every kind of suffering manifests somewhere in the body and creates tension and stress. We are told that we should release the tension in our body. Many of us have tried very hard. We want to release the tension in our body, but we can't release it. Our attempts at reducing tension in us won't work unless we first acknowledge that it's there. When you cut your finger, you just wash it and your body knows how to heal. When a non-human animal living in the forest is injured, she knows what to do. She stops searching for something to eat or looking for a mate. She knows through generations of ancestral knowledge that it's not good for her to do so. She finds a quiet place and just lies down, doing nothing. Non-human animals instinctively know that stopping is the best way to get healed. They don't need a doctor, a drugstore, or a pharmacist. We human beings used to have this kind of wisdom, but we have lost touch with it. We don't know how to rest anymore. We don't allow the body to rest, to release tension and heal. We almost entire we rely almost entirely on medication to deal with sickness and pain. Yet the most effective ways to ease and transform our suffering are already available to us without any prescription at no financial cost. And I'm not suggesting that you should throw away all your medications. Some of us do need to use certain medicines, but we can sometimes use them in smaller quantities and to much greater effect when we know how to let our body and mind truly rest. Healing medicine. The main affliction of our modern civilization is that we don't know how to handle the suffering inside us, and we try to cover it up with all kinds of consumption. Retailers peddle a plethora of classic and novel devices to help us cover up the suffering inside. But unless and until we're able to face our suffering, we can't be present and available to life, and happiness will continue to elude us. There are many people who have enormous suffering, and don't know how to handle it. For many people, it starts already at a very young age. So why don't our schools teach our young people the way to manage suffering? If a student is very unhappy, he can't concentrate and can't learn. The suffering of each of us affects others. The more we learn about the art of suffering well, the less suffering there will be in the world. Mindfulness is the best way to be with our suffering without being overwhelmed by it. Mindfulness is the capacity to dwell in the present moment, to know what's happening in the here and now. For example, when we lift our two arms, we're conscious of the fact that we're lifting our arms. Our mind is with our lifting of our arms, and we don't think about the past or the future, because lifting our arms is what's happening in the present moment. To be mindful means to be aware. It's the energy that knows what is happening at the present moment. Lifting our arms and knowing that we're lifting our arms, that's mindfulness. Mindfulness of our action. When we breathe in and know that we're breathing in, that's mindfulness. When we make a step and we know that the steps are taking place, we are mindful of the steps. Mindfulness is always mindfulness of something. It's the energy that helps us be aware of what is happening right now and right here, in our body, in our feelings, in our perception, and around us. With mindfulness, you can recognize the presence of the suffering in you and in the world. And it's with that same energy that you tenderly embrace the suffering by being aware of your in-breath and your out-breath. You generate the energy of mindfulness so that you can continue to cradle the suffering. Practitioners of mindfulness can help and support each other in recognizing, embracing, and transforming suffering. With mindfulness, we are no longer afraid of pain. We can even go further and make good use of suffering to generate the energy of understanding and compassion that heals us and can help others to heal and be happy as well. Generating mindfulness. The way we start producing the medicine of mindfulness is by stopping and taking a conscious breath, giving our complete attention to our in-breath and our out-breath. When we stop and take a breath in this way, we unite body and mind and come back home to ourselves. We feel our bodies more fully. We are truly alive only when the mind is with the body. The great news is that oneness of body and mind can be realized by just one in-breath. Maybe we have not been kind enough to our body for some time, recognizing the tension, the pain, and the stress in our body. We can bathe it in our mindful awareness, and that is the beginning of healing. If we take care of the suffering inside us, we have more clarity. We have more clarity, energy, and strength to help us address the suffering, violence, poverty, and inequity of our loved ones, as well as the suffering in our community and the world. If, however, we are preoccupied with the fear and despair in us, we can help remove the suffering of others. There is an art to suffering well. If we know how to take care of our suffering, we not only suffer much, much less, we also create more happiness around us and in the world. So that's all I want to read from that today. And I hope you enjoyed those pictures. So I have to get out of here and stop that. Hi. So anyway, that's what I'm reading. I spent a lot of time kind of working on me so that I can function and manage okay. So check that out and spend the day paying attention to what you're doing right at that very instant. Like, what are you doing right now? Right now, you're listening to me. So, big, deep breath in and breath out. If you paid attention to that, you were practicing mindfulness. All right, folks, have a good day. I will see you tomorrow. And I forgot, it's Wednesday, so we've been working on Weedless Wednesdays for a number of people, so let's have another one. Take care. Thank you.